What's up everybody, Savage here, Brian here, and today I will be doing another video. Today I will be talking about Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So today I will be talking about Champion's Ballad for Breath of the Wild. Wow, I said a lot of words. Okay, but today I'm going to be talking about this because of what Champion's Ballad is for Breath of the Wild. People expected something different from what it already is, and people are now claiming it was overhyped and that it sucks because of how it is. For me, I personally liked it. I was surprised on what it is because I expected something totally different. If you know what my Champions Ballad theory video that I made like a few days ago before the Champions Ballad was released, my theory was totally off because I thought it was going to be a post-canon DLC. And that is part of the main reason why people didn't like Champions Ballad. But today I will be going into full depth and do a full analysis on why the Champion's Ballad is hated by so many Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild fans, or even just Legend of Zelda fans in general. So basically, it all started a few weeks before Breath of the Wild came out that Numa announced that there would be DLC for Breath of the Wild, the first DLC for any Legend of Zelda game. And when I saw this, I was quite surprised about the DLC coming to Breath of the Wild, which was pretty cool. But then, when they announced DLC Pack 2 having an original story, a new dungeon, and additional challenges, that struck me by surprise that they would put so much into DLC Pack 2. I wasn't too surprised by DLC Pack 1. It is cool though to have though. But when I saw this, it was awesome to see that there would be DLC. But then it all happened when E3 came around. So basically, when E3 came around, they announced what the DLC packs were going to be like. They did more in depth on DLC Pack 1, way more than DLC Pack 2, and they announced that the name for DLC Pack 1 would be the Master Trials, which actually is quite fitting since there's Master Mode and Trial of the Sword and additional clothing. But because of Master Mode, which was a huge thing for this DLC, and of course Trial of the Sword, which was a beast in Master Mode. I mean, a beast. It was insane. It took me like over 10 hours just to beat it in Master Mode. I had to do a bunch of strategies and look up which strategy was the best, especially for Room 10 for Trial of the Sword in Master Mode. It was terrible and crazy, but worth it in the end to be it all in Master Mode. And then at E3, when they announced the Champion's Ballad, and they only basically announced the name, and they also confirmed that cast was going to be one of the main people for Champion's Ballad at E3 practically. And they show him playing the Champion's Ballad, of course, and they show the four champions, of course. And that was basically it for E3 until the dang development footage that made people think of the Champion's Ballad way different from what it was supposed to be. So, there was the development footage, I think, like leaked like a few days after E3 or something like around that time. Well, whatever. So basically, the development footage, since it wasn't fully like developed, people made theories about and thought that DLC Pack 2 Champions Ballad would be a post-Ganon world because of this scene right here for the Gerudo tribe. When Zelda goes to Gerudo Town, it shows a small person that they thought could be Ryu, but apparently they probably changed how tall lady Urbosa, who is one of the champions, looks like and how tall she is. And people who made this theory up about it could be like um post Ganon, which I also believe the people who thought it would be a post Ganon, because I also wanted a post Ganon world for Hyrule after they showed the ending for Breath of the Wild, the true ending. And why the heck did I say so? I mean, when I beat the game and got all the memories to see the true ending, I wanted a post Ganon world and see what would be next for Hyrule after Ganon has been killed, and now they could rebuild Hyrule. But apparently, no. It was not like that at all. So basically, for the DLC, it brought us more information about the champions, and there wasn't anything like story heavy for Champions Ballad, really. All, all you did basically at the beginning, after you freed the four divine beasts, you are sent back to Shrine of Resurrection. And at the Shrine of Resurrection, at first, you're supposed to put the Sheikah Slate back into the pedestal. And when I did this at first, I was really excited because I thought this was post-scan. I was a little bit annoyed that it wasn't post-scan, but then it shows you the places where you need to go. And then it shows you the one-hit obliterator that appears out of nowhere. And then you need to grab it. And then with the one-hit obliterator challenge, basically you have the one-hit obliterator, which can kill any enemy with one hit, but you can't use it like crazily or else it'll need to recharge. And if you get hit once, you die also. And basically you need to go to areas in Great Plateau, kill all the monsters there, and then a shrine will appear. These shrines for DLC Pack 2 Champions Ballad were much better and harder for Champions Ballad than all the other shrines in Breath of the Wild, the main game for it. Oh. And because of that, Breath of the Wild Champions Ballad felt better in terms of shrines and stuff, because it did everything better than what the main game offered for shrines and dungeons, which is that I liked about Champions Ballad, especially in the one-hit obliterator challenge, since there are some puzzles that are really like hard, and because of that, it adds more difficulty to the shrines because of the fact that if you get hit once, you die. So basically, after you do the Divine Beast Trial Tamers challenge and the one hit obliterator challenge is completed, and the Divine Beast Tamers Trial challenge, which has yet to be completed, then the one hit obliterator then gets destroyed, and then these like Sheikah monument things or whatever you like to call them. I don't know what they're called because they don't even have a name. But basically they rise out of the ground. And when they rise out of the ground, you're sent to go to them. When you get near them, one of the monks says, "I applaud your courage in coming here," and then tells you all the stuff that really doesn't like help you all throughout Champions Ballad and stuff. So basically, Cass then tells you a song that will help you find the three shrines, which actually has a picture on each one of the pillars on the monument that shows where the shrine is. And then with Cass's help, with the riddles that are in his song that he's trying to complete, it will then help you find the shrine. And you need to do multiple puzzles to do and find these shrines. For example, one of the things that you have to do to unlock one of the shrines is fight a new beast that has appeared throughout the Gerudo Desert, which is called the Maldu King. And the Maldu King is a cool mini boss that is unlocked when you have the champion's ballad and stuff. And once you kill this beast, a new shrine will appear. And basically, there are other puzzles like shield surfing, things that you have to do to unlock certain shrines, and basically stuff like that. And these shrines are way better than the ones in the actual game, which is awesome. But it sucks that you need to buy the DLC packs just to play the best shrines ever. But whatever, the DLC's pretty worth it anyways. Basically, after you do these three shrines, which actually give you something called Divine Beast Emblem, and you get a specific emblem for each divine beast, and you need to get three of them. Once you do that, which is inside the shrines where you need to get them, basically you go back to divine beast, and then it'll give you another trial, which is basically fighting Blight Ganon. Well, what's different about the Blight Ganons is that you're facing them in the Illusory realm this time around, and they give you random weapons and like bows and arrows and shields and stuff, making it a little bit harder to fight the Blight Ganons, but they're not too hard. And after you defeat the Blight Ganon for the Divine Beast, then basically you get sent back to Hyrule. Then Cass will basically talk to you and realize that you were standing there the whole time and stuff. And then because you completed the three shrines, Cass then finishes the ballad for each champion. And then once he is done doing the song for that champion, then you get a memory of the champion. In these memories, they tell you a little bit more about the champions, and you know a little bit more about their personality once you see these four memories that you get from each song that Cass tells you about and plays on his Concordian. And so basically, the pattern repeats. You go to each monument, and then a cast talks to you. Then you need to do the three tasks to unlock the three shrines to get the Divine Beast emblem. Then go to the Divine Beast, and then kill the Blight again in the Illusory realm, and then unlock a new memory from the song that Cass tells you about and finishes. But then, after you do those tasks, then you have to go back to a Shrine of Resurrection where you need to place a Sheikah Slate back into its pedestal once more. And then, once you do that, then the Shrine of Resurrection will then become an elevator for you to travel into this new Divine Beast slash dungeon, which basically combines a traditional dungeon with a Divine Beast, and it's a really cool dungeon in my opinion. And when you enter the dungeon slash divine beast, basically it starts out like any divine beast where it tells you that you need to go to the pedestal to gain a map. But what's different is that in this divine beast, there are four rooms with puzzles that are really difficult and actually challenging and makes you have to use your brain and use a secret slate a lot, and there are more enemies in this dungeon, which makes it an even better dungeon. And with these puzzles and with you need to like use the divine beast a little bit like less. It actually is a fun divine beast to do. And also what makes it harder is that you can't use any of the champion's abilities for this dungeon, which makes it even more challenging, especially in master mode, but not by like too much. But then once you do this stuff, then you need to open the door, which by itself is an actual puzzle in the dungeon. And once you open this door, you go to the boss. But basically, for this boss, it looks like there's no boss at the end of the dungeon. But when you look closer and get to the actual monk, he is a boss himself. This monk is the monk that has been challenging you throughout the whole Champions Ballad. He's the whole person behind this because he knows that you want to have a divine beast and that you seek one. But then once you go near him, when he challenges you to do a final trial for him, his boss fight is really cool. In this boss fight, basically you are teleported to this weird floating arena that's basically on a UFO, and then the monk challenges you like any boss fight, except he actually speaks. No other boss fight in this game even tells you anything or even talks to you, which is really weird since Ganon doesn't talk to you in this game, unlike every other Zelda game, or even makes sound, but whatever. But basically, he starts his attack by quickly, like, running to you as fast as a Thunder like Ganon does, and so, and once you damage him like a little bit, like not like halfway damage him like every other boss, but when you damage him like a quarter of his health, then this is when the boss fight gets real because in his second phase, he then makes duplicates of himself, and the boss fight gets real from there, especially in Master Mode, because Master Mode gives him time to actually heal. And then you need to fight off each monk one by one off, unless you have found out which monk is a real monk. And then once you do that, you just need to fight off the monk, and then the duplicates will disappear if you have found the real monk Masio, which is, the monk Mas Koshia. Dang, I got that name way off. Who is the name of the monk who is challenging you in Champions Ballad for the Divine Trial? Wow, why am I explaining this? Well, okay. So basically, when he does this is his second phase and one of his longest phases. Once you do that, it gets a little bit easier from here. So basically, he gets bigger, then starts fighting you and stuff, and he does a little bit of tactics from Master Koga because he like summons balls made out of iron that you need to use to actually damage Monk Mas Koshia. And once you do, he'll then eventually enter his fourth phase where he's just walking around and stuff. And if you take a little bit of time to actually fight him, he'll then make duplicates, which I never encountered because I killed him like crazy fast when he was in his fourth phase because I didn't use all of Urbosa's Fury and I just spammed the Master Sword at him like crazy and used stasis and did this tactic over and over again until he died. So I never encountered this, but it was probably one of the best boss fights in this game. 4 phases, and it's actually hard. Unlike the 4 Blade Cannons and Calamity Cannon and even Dark Beast Cannon in the main game. And this boss is completely original and different from all the bosses in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. But now let's look into the main reason I made this video. Why is it that people hate Champions Ballad? So basically, people hate the Champions Ballad from what I know is because it wasn't post-Ganon. It could have been much more, I know for a fact, but it was a fun addition to Breath of the Wild, and it's just DLC. It would be messed up if they locked the story content behind DLC that was major, like a whole new story, like post Ganon story. I think that they should make a sequel for Breath of the Wild so you get a full fledged Zelda game and that is post Ganon and post Ganon World, of course. In this exact same Hyrule that's in Breath of the Wild with more side quests and stuff, and it would also give the developers more time to actually make a post Ganon world awesome and great and at its best, like really good at telling a story. Because we know we're probably going to be getting a sequel to Breath of the Wild if there is no DLC Pack 3 or 4, which could possibly happen because in DLC Pack 2 Champions Ballad, you can get one more heart container, and people are theorizing already that there will be DLC Pack 3 and DLC Pack 4 because there are still two heart containers left, and that DLC Pack 4 will be a post Ganon world. Who knows? But I really just want a sequel to Breath of the Wild so the developers get enough time to make a full-fledged Legend of Zelda game that can possibly be even better than Breath of the Wild. Who knows? But because of this stuff and because of the reasons I'm talking about why people hate Champions Ballad, but the reasons I said on why they wouldn't do like a post Ganon world are a little bit like self-explanatory because one, why would you lock some story content behind DLC? Because that'd be annoying, and also you wouldn't want to pull an EA and do like a bunch of microtransactions, or you have to buy DLC to actually get the full experience for this game, which is stupid. But for me, I really liked the DLC. I give it like a 10 out of 10. It's DLC. What do you expect? A full fledged game? Like, why the heck? Like, go buy something else if you want a full fledged game in DLC. Go buy like a game that EA has made, like Star Wars Battlefront 2, that'll give you a full fledged experience if you do microtransactions and do gambling with real life money, which is stupid. But either way, that is my overview on Champions Ballad. And Savage Hero Brian out.